Jonathan Lee Riches investigates. It looks like there's informants in the Bryan Kohberger case. I am covering the case out of Moscow, Idaho, where 4 college students got brutally stabbed during the early morning hours of November 13th, 2022. Authorities arrested Bryan Christopher Kohberger with this crime. Now, reading the recent documents, which I'm going to show you, there are informants in his case. I'm going to show you this document right here, and then we will further discuss. Check it out. The prosecution court document states, the FBI then used common genealogical techniques to develop a family tree leading to defendant. The state seeks to protect from disclosure the names and personal information of the hundreds of innocent relatives on the family tree, the names of the publicly available genetic genealogy services used, and certain other information described below. The disclosure of this information is not required by Rule 16 of the Idaho Criminal Rules and should be protected from disclosure for the good cause described below, including the state's privilege to protect the identity of informers as described in Idaho Rule of Evidence 509. Who are the informers, aka informants? The identity of informers. Let me know what you think. So who are the informants? Who are the informants? Said family members, genealogy services, genetic genealogy services people. Someone out there is talking. Someone out there that the prosecution does not want revealed is sharing information about this case. Is it one of Kohberger's family members? And when I say family members, we know that he has a mother named Marianne Kohberger. We know he has a father named Michael Kohberger. We know he has a sister named Melissa Kohberger. We know he has another sister named Amanda Kohberger. It's being reported that he has family out there. Kohberger has family in the Vegas area. Who would the informants be? Probably most likely, if it's his family, it's someone close within where he lived in Pennsylvania. Albrightsville, Pennsylvania. It's also called Efford, Pennsylvania. He was arrested at his parents' home. Could have someone there tipped authorities off, gave authorities information? It's being reported one of his sisters was very suspicious of his behavior. It's reported when Bryan Kohberger got arrested, he had latex gloves on, was fiddling through trash. Also being reported that his sister was suspicious of that behavior of Bryan Kohberger going out there, taking out the trash in the middle of the night with gloves on. You know, who would do that? But if there is informants and they're trying to protect the identity of these informants, does that mean that they will possibly testify down the line? If you're using informants with the case, would they testify or not? Just use their information to gather other evidence, so then you use that type of evidence at trial if Bryan Kohberger goes to trial against him. But who would the informants be? Would his own family turn on him? That's happened in this country. A lot of times family members turn on family members all the time in criminal cases. They'll testify. They'll go on the stand against their sibling, their mother, father, sister, aunt, uncle, brother. It happens. This is the rule they cited in that motion. And here is Idaho Rules of Evidence 509, which was mentioned in that motion. Rule of privilege. The United States or a state or subdivision thereof has a privilege to refuse to disclose the identity of a person who has furnished information related to or assisting in an investigation of a possible violation of law to a law enforcement officer or member of a legislative committee or its staff conducting an investigation. Rules of privilege. Idaho Rules of Evidence 509. Let me know what you think. Informants. Now it could be the informants could be the genealogy service people, but you know, I'm not so sure on that angle. because it said either the family members of the genetic genealogy services. But what would they inform on unless they want to keep that a secret? A lot of people don't realize that when you submit your DNA to like an Ancestry.com or family tree oriented sites and stuff like that, they keep you in a system, and apparently it looks like possibly they inform that information to authorities that could be possibly used against you. So maybe they're the informers, but informants. We'll probably hear more about that word more with this case. Will Ann Taylor, Bryan Kohberger's attorney, challenge anything in reference to that? Subscribe to my channel, hit the notification button. I am covering the Moscow, Idaho Bryan Kohberger case. Will informants be one of the pieces of evidence that nails Bryan Kohberger and gets him convicted? We'll talk soon. Stay tuned.